Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Formula Sprint 1 in 2024. This is the second round of our championship, which is being held at the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. My name is Eoin Harmon, and alongside me once again, after our season opener, it's Ed Hunter. Ed, how are you keeping? Ed's muted his mic, actually, so I'll give him a chance to come back when he's ready, but...
Sorry, there we go.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
My bad. I
Right.
muted it to cough and then forgot to unmute it. I got a bit distracted as my mum started vacuuming just outside my room, which is really annoying. It's not ideal time to do it as well, but anyway, I guess cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say. Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia, much further from godliness, unfortunately. I'd love to say it's one of my favourite circuits on the calendar, but unfortunately, it's probably one of my least favourites. It's just... Well, far aside from the political side of it, it's incredibly high speed and narrow with the walls. I think it's just an accident waiting to happen at pretty much every other corner here. So come the races, I'm expecting absolute carnage and chaos, which I guess is good for us, not so good for the people driving these cars, though, because they're going to just have an absolute minefield trying to avoid one another out there.
Yeah, that is a completely fair point. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, it's just so quick and daunting if you are trying to go side by side in the high-speed corners here. But yeah, of course, our championship is wide open after the mixed fortunes for certain drivers back in Melbourne. It is, of course, championship lead for Viktor Ivanov, who absolutely excelled on his first appearance in the championship, taking victory in race 1 and backing it up with extra points in the second race. But of course, Mike Quint has unfinished business with this championship, and getting that sprint victory 2 weeks ago is a huge fillip to his chances. But yeah, here's the aforementioned Ivanov, and he means business with another superb time and that will give everyone else a lot to think about as MS Performance actually go first and second.
Yeah, great lap by Savali as well. Just a tenth ahead of Matthias Maika, who's filling in at Alpha Delta Racing for Mirko Lucchini, who's having to give this round a miss. A number of substitutes actually are taking part here today at the Jeddah circuit. So not only Matthias Maika, who is trying to add another podium to his name after getting one here in FS2 back on Tuesday. We've also got Tom Parker filling in for Bradley Sellers at Lunark. And I believe Mateusz Gazowski is filling in for Mateusz Dabrowski at Hyperion. I think Charlie Jemison is filling in for Philip Koenig at Griffon Esports. And I think that's about it, unless... Oh, Massimiliano Riboli is filling in for... Yeah, Muscat and Riboli, yeah. So Riboli is filling in for Scott Mitchell-Malm at King's Racing. And where's Muscat again? I lost track of this now.
He's 13.
So he's filling in at HEP for Frank Hamming, of course. And there's Isaac Clark, who was very, very quick in practice. But unfortunately, now everyone's got the big guns out with 10 minutes to go. He is down in 11th, so he'll be looking to get Pixelate's first points of the season after getting so close, wasn't he, in that great battle with the two Netrexes of Smith and Watson in the closing stages of Race 1 at Melbourne. That was a superb battle. Unfortunately, Isaac Clark, first his internet started to drop, as Justin Van der Spissen is very lucky not to drop it at the final corner there. And then Isaac Clark unfortunately had a big crash at the high-speed chicane, wasn't it? He just found himself in the wall on the outside, losing it, opening the DRS. And that was a big shame for Pixelate, because I think they would really have... Stephen McCready would really wanted to get his first points on the board, and but there's another chance. Isaac Clark, clearly a very, very good driver. He was in Super League a few seasons ago as well. So it's great to see Isaac Clark finally showing what he can do in FS1.
So yeah, with the championship points awarded for the first time back in Melbourne, yeah, we do have a rough idea of what's going on, but it's still far too early to call precise outcome for the championship. But of course, even off getting 2 pole positions in a row, that is a statement that will make all the other competitors listen and listen well. But if anyone can break the 137 3 territory, maybe get down to 137 1 or maybe 0, then yeah, that could be very difficult to beat in these type of cars. Very reliant on their downforce, of course, a little bit less on the top speed compared to our ultimate cars in Super League and SL2 as well. So let's just see how they get on. We're on board with Mateusz Machka. Let's see how he gets on. Check for the first chicane, probably one of the most prone to accidents if you're not careful, because you do have to take a dive past the runoff if something's going on, and then you're rebounding on the circuit, and yeah, you have to be very alert to what's going on. But it's no problem qualifying in the private mode, so everyone has a clear track in front of them. Fair is fair. Towards Sector 2 now, the very demanding hairpin there can be an overtaking opportunity if you can get alongside your opponent. I know even more high-speed sweepers, 15, 16, 17, and now the run past 18 through 20 coming up now. So gentle curves here, so it really will require high-speed setup. And purple Sector 1 there, but it's not quite on target there in Sector 2, just narrowly missing that extra 1/10 of a second, but it's still on for competitive time here. That could give Satterley something to think about. Run down to the final 2 corners. The 26 is taken flat out. He's using all the curbs as he requires. Now the final hairpin. Great opportunity to set up the DRS attack, and that looks clean to me. And Isaac Clark goes on to pole position. That's a 137.2. But this could be a 137.2 as well. Oh, nearly. It is a very, very narrow miss, but great effort nevertheless from Mashka.
Yep, so close, isn't it? All in the 1:37.2s and 1:37.3s. Sorry about that, by the way. I'm dropping out there. I had no idea what was happening, but you were talking, I heard absolutely nothing. But now it's hopefully back. I think maybe after I was a bit insulting towards Saudi Arabia, I think the Saudis decided to crap my internet out. But anyway, but a brilliant effort by Isaac Clarke. That final sector, 32.0. Really made that lap there, but Micah was only about a 10th down in the middle sector, which was his worst one. So if he can get that time back, he's easily in the conversation here for pole position. As we look at Luke Mitchell trying to improve on 11th position, so a stronger qualifying for the Lunart driver after a difficult debut in FS1 for the reigning FS2 champion last time out.
Yeah, but I suppose the first race, it can go 1,000 different ways. You just need that slice of luck as well as the competitive nature. So yeah, if you can ride it off and try again tonight, that'll be ideal. Just get Lunark fully on board this championship. Eoin did not quite return to form there. Clarke remains on provisional pole, and Abler here for Pixelate, trying to improve his worth, maybe get into the top 15, which will allow him the compound to use from qualifying, so you'd be stuck on the softs. But yeah, I suppose that's not the worst thing around here. You will want a rapid start to try and break clear of anyone else who wants to go long. As the pit lane isn't terribly long on this circuit. I suppose the chicane does get cut out, and that was close with the rear end oversteer.
Yeah, I don't think Jonas has to improve his worth. I think he's worth a lot to me personally as a human being, but as per his position, certainly, as he goes up to 19th then. So hopefully there's a decent setup on that pick slate that Isaac Clarke has made potentially shared with him that he can use to his advantage here. But Eoin has got a new challenger up front, hasn't he? And this is not part of the game plan. Eoin would have hoped to just get on pole easily and then romp away. If he's got Clarke alongside him on the front row, that American is really going to give him a hard time, especially into turn one and potentially for the rest of this opening race of these two, of course. So Eoin will have to see if he can find something special here. He usually does. And then there's Micah, of course, who's waiting in the wings, not far behind at all on his best lap. So as the time's ticking down, we look at Watson lighting up the first sector here by 9,000ths of a second. That's a purple time. There's Quint. Goes SIG fastest, winner in race 2 in Melbourne as well. So everyone's starting to bring their A game here, Eoin, and the time running out, that's exactly the moment to do it.
Yes, absolutely. The fact that we're going to be spending near 100 seconds on this hot lap, you have to be on track with about 2 minutes notice before you can really perhaps line up 2 hot laps before the checkered flag waves. And of course after it waves, you can cross the line again and try your second attempt, and that's all clear. But Watson, this is very competitive if he wants to log it, but alas he doesn't. So yeah, he knows time is very near to running out, so yeah, get fueled up, get the fresh tires on and try again. We'll now see how Eoin composes himself for this lap. He really wants a double pole position honour to begin this season. Using a lot of runoff there before run down to turn 13. Let's see what his time is. Yeah, it's purple again, so he is consistent. He just needs to find that extra bit of time to put Clarke back down to second. Yeah, using all that runoff area, that is that goes to show how much you have to put the car through the ragged edge and make the track work for you rather than against you. So again, there you go, you can see more heavy use of the curbing, and he's not quite there with his personal best, but so close now through that.
Was that all 4 wheels on the track, Eoin? That was very close, if not. But Victor Eoin, he's so good at these sort of high speed changes of direction where you need to get the rear of the car under control and make those swift sort of quick decisions on whether you're going to really hang it out around this high-speed corner or back off and trying to prioritize the next corner, of course. So especially in a racing situation, he's brilliant. He's not too bad in quality either. No, that's I think that might be Eoin done then, because I don't think he's got time to set another one.
No, he absolutely doesn't. It's
neither did Micah. So that potentially is Isaac Clarke on pole position now.
Yeah, it absolutely could. Christopher Svillo for Kaizen Racing. They celebrated a fabulous homecoming 2 weeks ago with their team manager, of course. But Svilo, his target is to find another 1/10 of a second and break past Zabinski, and maybe even Roshak as well. If he decides to nominate the time, he will go for hugging as much of the inside line, similar to what we saw in F1 Academy, for example. A lot of the drivers did hug the inside, and he goes 7th.
Yeah, I think the reason we saw people, despite being up on their sector times, because they knew they didn't have the exit they needed from that final corner, and because that straight line speed is so crucial to lap time here. If you compromise your exits, then it's really going to hurt in terms of the time, because you're losing it all the way down the straight. So we see Watson with another purple first sector here, so it's all on the line for Omari here. He knows there was a chance to score really big in race 1 in Melbourne that slipped through his fingers. Recovered a little bit in race 2 to beat Ivanov to, I think it was 5th position, by doing the whole race on the soft tyres. It was no mean feat. And now he has got the best overall lap in practice, 137.20, but he's 6/10 off that at the moment. Let's see if he can match that here. It would be just about good enough to beat Isaac Clark.
And it's another purple again. It's 0.06 of a second. Oh, he really went close on the runoff there. Thankfully, the car didn't bottom out or any sort of loss of downforce. It's just one proper braking point to come, and then he'll get to sprint to the line. Here we go, braking just at the 50-meter board or thereabouts. And now foot to the throttle. Let's see if it is good enough for pole position. Again, yeah, he's going to hug the inside. 137.4. No, it's P5 for number 5.
That was that final sector as well that did him in, 32.4. So he was just 2 or 3 tenths off of Isaac Clark there. And that made all the difference there with Savali in the end, just pips him. But yeah, Isaac Clark, he's going even faster. Oh, as he just brushes the final wall at the final corner there. So that really shows his confidence that he can afford to do that and still take pole position here. So masterful for Pixlate. That's their first pole in FS1 as Filin. Oh, he's having a bit of fun out there, isn't he?
Yeah, it could be a case of he knew pole position or any improvement was out the window, so he decided to have a tumble and break all his parts.
That's compromised Zabinski's exit all the way down the straight, because he went sideways into the wall there, and 12th it will be for the Hyperion.
Massimiliano Raboli, what's he got in the tank again? The last sector is ruining all kinds of competitive lap times.
Harry Smith had a good lap there to get up to 9th right at the end.
Yeah, great spot. So yeah, the final sector, it may just be a qualifying setup issue, but yeah, it seems like it really is difficult in these cars to get it absolutely right. The 22-23 chicane, I think that's probably the most perilous corner. But of course, yeah, in the race trim, perhaps a lot of drivers will fancy getting the run from 25 all the way to the final hairpin. So that looks like we're all complete for qualifying. Anyone else has set a time? So now Harry Smith was the last time that it made a change to the leaderboard. So let's summarize it with Isaac Clark on pole position. He managed to find that extra 1/10 of a second on Victor Ivanov to spoil his dreams of a perfect pole position record. Matthews Mashka subbing in for Alpha Delta has himself P3. Tom Satterley backing up his teammate very impressively in 4th. Then we have Amari Watson, Lucas Tylene, Mike Quint, Christopher Sfillo, Harry Smith, and Federico Russo in the top 10. The drivers who will be starting on their qualifying tyre 11th through 15th, it's Robin Muhling, Matthew Sabinski, Patrick Roshak, Luke Mitchell, and Massimiliano Raboli. Just outside our top 15, Jason Muscat, Menno Klont, Wopke Hoekstra, Justin van der Smissen, and Tom Parker. And we do have 28 times set, but of course Matthews Kozowski there in the 29th. We'll hopefully see him in the race as well, but that's of course mentioned Jonas Abler first in 21st position with Daniel Scott, Sandro Van Sand, David DeVries, Jack Nichols, Charlie Jempson, Balas Beckis, and Archie Moat. They are the remaining drivers who have set qualifying times. I suppose, yeah, one other point to make was, of course, 100 to 1. They were the one brand new entry to FS1 that didn't quite get to shine 2 weeks ago. So hopefully this is their chance. They can put the jitters of the debut to rest and hopefully have another go with their drivers.
Not just new to FS1. Not just new to FS1 though, they're new to GPV period as well. Ben Constantine's team. So great to see Van Sand, I think, had a solid qualifying 22nd position, and then his teammate Moat just propping up the rear of the grid ahead of Gazowski, who of course didn't set a time. So problem was Van Sand, I think, was involved in an incident coming out of turn 12 at Melbourne and went sideways, and then Moat crashed into him because he didn't have anywhere to go, essentially. So that was what did them in race 1, and I think neither of them got to the end of race 2 either. So just getting a finish here at what's going to be almost certainly a pretty chaotic high-speed encounter with all these high-speed chicanes. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of people where we see 2 cars trying to go through a corner where only 1 car can really go through realistically at the same time. And I imagine 100 to 1, it's just a case of Van Sand and Moat trying to survive from their relatively low grid spots, although I think Van Sand doing well to clear the likes of David De Vries and Jack Nichols in qualifying. So yeah, I think Ben Constantine's squad can have a good one here, but like the name suggests, the odds of victory are pretty long here.
Yeah, unfortunately so, but yeah, we know that I remember last year Alex Lahou won a race here last year, so there is a chance for fortune to smile on drivers.
His fortune's turned around dramatically since our last broadcast, because I think he won the opening Superlights round in Melbourne in pretty torrential wet conditions, kept Joseph Erlock at bay, and yeah, an absolutely brilliant driver from the young Frenchman. So I'm sure Alex Lahou, that win here essentially started that kind of upward trajectory. He's continued to have a little bit of bad luck, a few mistakes here and there, but in general that pace has certainly not gone away, and he's finally figured out how to put it to good use in terms of making it show on the results sheet and not just in the lap times as well. So that is good to see. And across all our 4 points paying categories here in GPV, the drivers are developing, learning all the time, so you will see plenty of drivers who of course jump in from other series, like Victor Ivanov coming in from FSR, but other drivers of course have been in GPV much longer and have really improved from where they were in FS2. And here's the FS2 champion Luke Mitchell trying to put that into practice, of course, as well, because he did win FS2 quite dominantly last year, but it's a big step into FS1. He discovered that in Melbourne, didn't he? And starting down 14th, I think, on the grid, he's going to have a little bit of work to do, but certainly Luke Mitchell has got the skill set to get into the points or get deeper into the points, I should say.
Yeah, the Lunar team, yeah, they absolutely showed a lot of medal coming in halfway through last season, and the fact that they now have a full pre-season under their belts. Of course, it's no guarantee that last year's form will reflect into a new season, but yeah, I'm sure that ability just to have extra mileage and more prep that they've been able to take up will help them out in the longer term. And of course, yeah, the warm-up will allow drivers who need to use the alternate tires, if they have the opportunity to pick from outside, from 16th down. This will be their ideal opportunity to think of some strategies and find where the tires will succeed and where they may start to degrade, and what corners will hurt them the most.
Yeah, interesting reactions in the chat on YouTube, by the way. A couple people praising Isaac Clark for his pole position lap, and rightly so. Alessandro Maggio says that Massimiliano Riboli ran out of fuel on the run to the line, so that was why he hit near the end. A couple of people talking about Christos Svillo's P8 lap like it was a pole lap. Svillo domination. Svillo the Great has qualified 8th, which I guess has almost rhymes, but not quite. Edward Swarbrick says, Isaac, please fix your land. Of course, that was the undoing sort of for Isaac Clark in Australia, so there will be that hanging over him, but I'm sure...
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm not sure of anything anymore after seeing that. already does not bode well for the race, Eoin.
David De Vries must have been utterly baffled about what he saw there, and if it does get it out of the system here in warm up, then that's absolutely fine in my eyes. But yeah, complete traffic jam.
A rear wing behind.
Yeah. Like we don't have red flags or any such measures in GPVWC unless something like server crash or something were to occur. I've never seen a red flag or anything for a very long time in GPVWC, to be honest.
Yeah, it would have to be pretty exceptional circumstances, but it is all in the hands of the drivers, like you say, to keep it clean. And I think, to be honest, the drivers are the last person you want to be in charge of driving standards, because you can't always trust them at the best of times. But hopefully FS1, we see slightly better standards than we saw in FS2, despite having some of the higher rated runners in FS2 subbing in here at the third tier.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the quality on show. Of course, these drivers, they will be given the opportunity to learn and to improve their craft here in FS1. But yeah, it's still to be in this series shows that you are going in a positive direction. So yeah, we'll see exactly who will be able to best negotiate this challenge here at Jeddah. Yeah, it could be another case of one or two drivers perhaps get off to the best start. But if it is a case where the other drivers can begin to catch up as the race goes on, then yeah, it will open up so many scenarios, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think that top five are all ones to look out for. So Clark, Ivanov, Micah, Savali, and of course Omari Watson, who didn't quite get the lap together. So I'm sure Omari is going to regroup and try again for the race. Hope something chaotic happens in front that he can take advantage of. The pit stops could be a little bit interesting here, especially those running long in the first stint as well, because they might be able to hit from fairly high up in the order and then come out and make up some of those places near the end on the soft tyre, especially if they can get decent traction through, say, the final corner onto the main straight. Any other good overtaking opportunities? I suppose that sort of flat out run after the sort of 15, 16, 17 sort of chicane part through 18, 19, 20, 21, all flat out corners. I think that could be another good overtaking spot. And potentially we could see a few dives into turn 27, the final corner as well.
Yeah, it's certainly possible, but of course single file will be necessary through a lot of the corners. They will be barely felt at all. Yeah, particularly 19, 20, you won't notice them. 24, 25, you just have to poke the curbs. Oh, Tom Parker has to catch the slide there, so good job being on the case with that one. And he'll merge out of the way to try and get back on full throttle.
On this car of Bradley Suller's car, of course, that Tom Parker's filling in. It says, if your crash comes out of your... And I can't read what that final word is. I hope it's not inappropriate. But they've got, of course, the Yorkshire White Rose in the middle for Bradley Sellers, which is... I'm not sure that's where Tom Parker's from, so he's from another part of the UK, I believe. But I think a lot of those older Lunark and Rookie Monsters boys come from the sort of similar sort of part of the UK, and sometimes have meetups. But yeah, I've got, apart from the main Rookie Monsters team, which is Robin Mulling and Daniel Scott, neither of whom are from the UK. But
yeah, for every British viewer's sake, I won't get involved in the geography. I know Yorkshire, it's not north necessarily, it's mid-north.
I'm going to be going there on Sunday, actually. I'm going halfway there on Saturday and the other half on Sunday. So I'll tell you for myself.
Yes, I won't start calling.
Bump into Bradley and ask what he was doing instead of racing today.
I won't apply the wrong measurements to the wrong counties of the UK.
Only a couple of seconds left and then check a flag out for warm-up. I can't wait to get things going here, because a crucial stage in our championship here, and Ivanov keen to stretch his legs in the lead, but Isaac Clark keen to get some points on the board, so they could not be in more different situations as Hoekstra completely loops it round and loses a wheel and a wing.
Yeah, that'll, yeah, down by the Ferris wheels. Yeah, that is one to be alert 2 come the main race itself. So yeah, if you can avoid doing that in race trim, then that's ideal. Riboli there must have been just practicing a launch procedure. Make sure he gets it absolutely right.
Place to do it.
Yeah, it's some place to do it.
To be fair, I wouldn't blame him for forgetting where the start-finish line is, because in places such a bland, similarly, especially the first 2 sectors, every corner, every section looks extremely similar to me. So I barely know where we are half the time, so I hope the drivers have got a better handle of this than I do. I think most of them do, apart from Gazowski, I think, who's only done a couple of laps here.
Yeah, so checker flag is out after the warm-up session, and it is Massimiliano Riboli with the fastest time. Of course, yeah, he will be in a strong position for the race in terms of picking up points for King's Racing. They'll be appreciative to get a little bit more after Australia. There were certainly mixed feelings for them. They had potential for some very impressive results, but in the end it was Mitchell Malm 5 points, and Jack Nichols, I think he got promoted to 1 point, so that's good for him.
Yeah, Mitchell Malm pulled off an amazing double overtake, didn't he, when he did the switchback at 13 on one of the Lunart cars and somebody else as well. I think it was Rozak, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so Scott Mitchell Malm doing some good moves, and Massimiliano Riboli keen to carry that on, filling in for the, of course, the F1 journalist.
Yes, for sure. Now we have signal to the grid, one at a time. Certainly at the front there, those drivers are eager to go. Now we have a good 8 or so cars ready, and we'll just allow for the other remaining drivers to get summoned. So yeah, it shouldn't be too long until our warm-up lap. It'll be 25 laps for the race 1 feature before we get a reverse grid draw, and then 17 laps for the sprint. So yeah, it seems almost inevitable a tire stop will be necessary here, but yeah, perhaps it's more for the fact that you can gain the time back that you lose from pitting, rather than the tires necessarily being at risk of being absolutely eviscerated in this nighttime situation. So track temperature should be pretty manageable. The speed you can get on fresh compound tires really will help the drivers, I'm sure, Ed.
Yeah, and interesting to look out for, of course, MS Performance. I've got 2 cars in the top 4. They will be fighting against Multiforce GP, who currently lead the Teams Championship, of course. Their best driver, Mike Quint, in 7th, but the other driver, Menno Klont, a further 10 places back. So good opportunity for MS Performance to gain ground here. Expect Ivanov and Savali to work together to overcome Micah and potentially Clark as well.
Yeah, that ability to have the teamwork, that could be a crucial advantage. So let's have our formation lap grid rundown. Isaac Clark from Victor Ivanov on row 1, with Machka 3rd and Sathali P4. Mari Watson and Lucas Tylene 5th and 6th. Mike Quint just ahead of the other Kaizen Racing driver Christopher Sfillo there on row 4. Harry Smith and Federico Russo complete our top 10, with Robin Muelling and Matthew Sabinski just outside the top 10 in P11 and 12. Drivers in the points paying positions as of right now, we've Patrick Roshak, Luke Mitchell and Jason Muscat, with Massimiliano Riboli with that option of a free choice of tyre in 16th. Menno Klont, Wopke Hoekstra, Justin van der Smissen and Tom Parker complete the top 20. Jonas Abler and Daniel Scott are together 21st and 22nd. Sandro Van Sand, the first 100 to 1 driver, ahead of David De Vries, P24 for the BMS Sun Edits. Our final set of drivers, we start with Jack Nichols in 25th, Charlie Jemson 26th, Matthias Gozowski down in 27th, ahead of Archie Moat in 28th. And in 29th, for the moment, it's Balas Bekis. We're just heading towards the final set of corners now, Ed. So any last minute predictions after, of course, you talked about MS Performance's ability to work together?
Yeah, Steph McCready has written in the chat, if you crash, it comes out of your wages. So I wonder if that's directed at Isaac Clarke. Don't mess this up, Isaac, which is an interesting way of motivating a drivers. What was it that Matthew McKinnon said about Svillo? That one of my drivers, I need to have a word with them after this one. Seems to work so far with Svillo, only 2 places behind his teammate on the grid. And so certainly KKR in a pretty strong position too, along with MS Performance. But Isaac Clarke, if he can get a good start here, potentially Victor Ivanov might have Micah to deal with, and he could run away with this one. So it really depends how these first couple of laps go here.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, yeah, so far the experienced heads just a little bit outclassed in qualifying, but of course, yeah, a long way to go in this 25-lap race. It will feel like a long enough stint for the drivers. Even
I think Van der Smissen starting from the pit lane, so he's not on the grid in 19th.
Yes, okay, so that must be a penalty that he has to overcome. Now, of course, we'll return to the grid. We have our 5 red lights coming up. And let's see what Clarke and Ivanov can do from the front row. They're away. And it will be a tough ask, especially with the inside line in favour of Ivanov. Clarke fights back. Oh, courageous, but too naive as well. He's spun it and lost his rear wing, making a bit of contact with the HGP.
Well, that could not have gone much worse for Isaac Clarke, but it's Micah who's taking advantage of Ivanov. Finds himself behind Luca Filin, actually. So Ivanov also lost out whilst Isaac Clarke was spinning across the track in front of him. And so not only did he lose the lead, he lost his rear wing as well. So it's exactly what Stephen McCready said he didn't want to happen.
So there's Mashka, who has benefited there, and he's pulled out an 8/10 of a second advantage. So it was a bit of a distraction to Ivanov there, so he's down to 4th. But of course, yeah, it is better just to have the car intact, ready to keep pushing. So, big change up front already. Tylene on the podium as well for KKR. And now, yeah, slow. Robin Mulling very slow.
No front wing, is he?
Yeah, maybe a bit of damage to the end plate. He is really struggling.
Half of it's gone, yeah. Wow, that's really, whatever's wrong with that car, it's really hurting his ability to corner here. I think maybe there's some steering damage here. He's been pushed into the wall somewhere, I suspect.
Yeah, it's too heavy of a steering lock. If he's already crabbing, that would have been a hit with the barriers. So if he can stay to the inside and get himself some repairs, or if he's
good move on Apple, though.
Yeah, very good move. Maybe he was just
cold tires or something. He was trying to warm them up, but yeah, this is as we see, Archie Moat has retired in the second of the 100 to 1s. Isaac Clarke, I think, is just about to make it back to the pit lane. Charlie Jemson in the second Griffon has hit trouble as well. As we see a lot of movement in the mid-order. Ballas Beckies has made it to the pits too. So yeah, all sorts of at least 4 or 5 drivers hitting trouble on this opening lap. Micah up front has got the gap to Savely to 9/10 of a second then. So for Mateusz Micah, it's a dream start at the moment, as we see that's Villo and Mike Quint going side by side, and Christos Villo through into 7th place.
Yeah, superb job there, and it will certainly give him the extra encouragement to attack if he can pull off a move like that already. In terms of drivers on the harder compound, Tom Parker has P17 at the moment. Gazowski 21st, he's made a few gains, of course, and Abler, he's down 1 place, but it's certainly retrievable. And Jack Nichols is 24th, he's the last really uninterrupted runner there with the harder compound, so they'll come into play a little bit later. But for now, we remain on the camera view of Patrick Roshak. He's so close to the net wrecks of Harry Smith. Oh, he finds a bit of a dummy. Of course, the track will return to Smith, and DRS is only enabled as Mashka crosses the line, Ed.
Yeah, you saw Roszak had to sort of compromise his exit, but he does at least, like you say, benefit from the slipstream as they go into turn 1. Can he go all the way around the outside of Harry Smith? Smith almost has to go a little bit off track there just to give some room to the parallax of Alpina there. A little bit of wheel banging there, but Harry Smith resolutely holds firm and holds on to that 9th position there. So that's crucial for Networks with Watson all over the back of Ivanov. Of course, the MS Performance and Networks are sort of sister teams to one another. Russo's actually made a pretty decent start here, set fastest lap of the race, 1:40.8. So both of the Alpha Deltas have got decent setups here, and Micah benefiting the most though because he is out front and he's got Savily really under control already. He's sort of kept him on a leash at this phase of the race, and that's why Savily can't get close enough to dive or make a challenge down the straights here.
Yeah, and that does leave him a little bit open to an attack from Tylene if he can actually get back to a second or less deficit. Of course, yeah, there's DRS enabled for Watson. So we'll be watching Ivanov to see what our championship leader can do. So there we go. Robin Mulling is just on the cusp of a point here. You want to take it away from Menno Clant. And on the run down to the final corner, he should be able to ride the middle of the circuit and then use the outside line to good effect. So here we go on the long way around turn 26. If he can brake, yes, he can. He can absolutely find the brakes, beating Menno to the punch there.
Yeah, is it me or do the multiforces look really slow in a straight line? They've maybe set up a higher downforce for qualifying. We saw Mike Quint being breezed past by Russo. Spillo has actually dropped back behind Mike Quint, so maybe Mike Quint has got a slightly different setup to Menno. But yeah, Mulling had a horrible first lap, falling from 11th to 19th. He's now starting to make his way back up the order for rookie monsters.
Yeah, I suppose in fairness to Mike Quint, he has gained the position off Spillo. He's now in 7th.
Last lap Ivanov, and he had a purple first sector as well, 36.4, right behind Luca Filin, so Ivanov's starting to regroup here after a difficult turn 1.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, getting the composure back. It's really valuable if your first lap doesn't go to plan. Still, a lot can be retrieved with composed driving. We now have Braboli subbing in for Mitchell Malm in the points, P14, having started 16th. He's got a superb run here on Muscat. Try and hook it around. Oh, he has to correct himself before the 22-23 chicane, and he goes around the outside, and it'll come back to him. So a courageous pass, and thankfully it paid off.
Yeah, that was going in the wall 6 times out of 7 there, but unfortunately for Tom Parker, it was the 7th time. So Riboli just gets through by the skin of his teeth and then defends here into turn 27. But interestingly, well, actually not interestingly, sadly, both the 100-to-1s are now out of the race, with Sandra Van Sand joining his teammate in retirement there. So that's bitter call for Ben Constantine, because he just cannot get a car to the finish these days, which is a big shame for him.
Yeah, it really is a bitter blow.
Oh, is that Riboli being overtaken into turn 1 again?
Yeah, he's lost position back. So straight away, Muscat had something up his sleeve. And of course, Robin Mulling, with eager eyes, wants to pull himself back into the race. And so far, yeah, it's going to be follow the leader job. Riboli losing a bit of time again. So Jason Muscat really, really unfazed by that big pass. He's shown a lot of grit to make sure he got it back.
And this is the kind of circuit where you really need to stay in DRS of the group of cars in front, because that can keep you in play, even if a little artificially, because straight line speed is such a premium here. And Robin Mulling knows that better than the 2 in front, I think, because he's just been slowly reeling them in. As we look at Ivanov really travelling over the curbs as he seeks to try and scare Luca Filin a little bit off the road here. That MS, such a distinctive livery, MS Performance, those white, blue, pink, orange sort of splodges all over it, you know, as if we recognise it when it comes across. And there we go, Russo at the mercy of Christos Spillo, gets himself back into P7 then. So Russo losing places to Spillo and Mike Quint in quick succession thanks to the DRS.
And Harry Smith tried to cut a wide line into the final corner in the hopes of gaining a lot of performance on the straight line. And let's see if he makes the pass. It's clean. Step 1, step 2 is it's good. So Russo has really fallen away there. He's lost the position to Smith. So great tactics there from the number 10. Of course, Roshak.
Oh, goodness. The lead.
Oh, no.
And he's down to the 5th position there. I thought Savali was catching him, so he's made a mistake in the first sector. Somehow kept it going, but double trouble for Alpha Delta then, with both cars losing a load of places. So a little inexperience in FS1 showing for Micah there.
Yeah, front wing completely vanished. So yeah, he has the nose, but the front wing is gone. The downforce is absolutely ruined in these sweepers. And of course, yes,
these guys up so bad. Until he gets past, is that the Netrex of Harry Smith then, who's just able to hold at bay as a result of that.
Yeah, so yeah, more drivers held up. Roshak is the latest to be made to pick a spot. Yeah, it's scary
as well.
Scary, and Zubinski as well. He's also going to get by. So yeah, this will split up a lot of our battles. Luke Mitchell fending off Mashka. Well, of course he's lost out, so it is Muscat who will try and catch back up. Zubinski defending, and he's actually gone for the attack. So Russo has to get the traction absolutely nailed down there to make sure he didn't lose position. So yeah, this has really put another spanner in the works, as we've lost the pole sitter and we've lost the driver who benefited on lap 1. He has to get a new front wing.
So here comes Rupali round the outside into turn 1, again having a go at Tom Parker. And the Tom Parker is that's not Parker, is it? It's the other one, isn't it? It's the other HVP that Rebel was fighting with. Muscat, sorry. It's Hoekstra in the other HVP, sorry. Sure, getting Muscat and Parker mixed up, which is bad. But anyway, Jason Muscat continuing to defend exceptionally here, as Ivanov is now right behind Tom Savali. So this is providing Victor Ivanov back onto the podium, of course. And interesting here, because with Omari Watson breathing down their neck, IMS Performance is going to be able to do a swap here without losing another position for Tom Savali. And Luca Filin at the moment is running away with this, so he's gotten ahead of Savali somewhere.
Yeah, my goodness, it's really evolving in a matter of moments, this race. So yeah, Tylene, the new race leader.
Filin start, wasn't he 7th or 6th or something?
Yeah.
Just by staying out of trouble, he's gained so many places.
Yeah, this will certainly put the fact that I really do enjoy the signings that KKR made with Tylene. And of course,
there we go.
Christmas. Now here's the attack.
And look at Savali losing the rear end through turn 27.
Yeah, so trying to help his teammate get through. He has left himself a little bit in position for Murray Watson to attack, so he's going to stick to the racing line. And Watson has to yield, and maybe he missed his braking point a little bit there, Tom. And sliding again, so yeah, he is a bit unsettled. And Watson will know he's got to use all of his experience to make that pass the moment it comes up. And of course, Mike Quinn's behind, won't make it easy.
Yeah, you could tell Mike Quinn using one of the more experienced drivers here, taking it easy in those first couple laps, letting the chaos happen to the leaders, and now he's been able to slowly creep back into DRS range of Omari Watson. So Watson knows if he slips up trying to overtake Savali, Mike Quint will be instantly overtaking him. But of course, crucial move for MS Performance to do that swap, because I think Ivanov is the only one that has got a much better chance than Savali of beating Filin here in this first race. So Luca Filin is going to have to use all of that FS2 experience from the last year and all that racecraft to keep Victor Ivanov at bay, who's only a second behind. And he was 0.4 of a second quicker in the first sector alone. So maybe that's a little bit from the DRS of Savali that helped him down the main straight. But nonetheless, Ivanov looking another 10th quicker in sector 2 as well. So I think Filin is going to, this second phase of the race could be one way he might end up being dropped down to second if he's not careful. And look at this, Mike Quint on the attack.
Yeah, here he goes, running a high line, waiting for a chance, and down the inside is Watson. So, he's crashed in the wall. He's lost all the momentum in the mid-corner, and damage to the front wing, perhaps minimal. He's gotten away with the worst scenario. But yeah, he just suddenly lost traction mid-corner. So Satherley stays third, and Quint, he poaches that move. And Watson, in fairness, did have enough time in hand. Go ahead.
That Muscat spinning across the first corners, it is. Oh dear. All that hard work, and he drops to 14th place instead of his teammate Hookster.
Yeah, he'll be trying to get some feedback on the tyres to make sure they're not too badly scrubbed or any flat spots. So yeah, the HGP team need to be on the blowers immediately to make sure Hoekstra isn't blocked if his tyres are in much better health. But now we get on board with championship leader Eoin. He has a chance to get himself another race 1 victory if Tylene if he's beaten on DRS. May not be right now, but certainly a chance into the final 3 corners. It's possible. So here comes the big chicane. Got to stay inside the curbs, but of course, yeah, Eoin doesn't care. He's happy to push with everything he's got.
Eoin clearly's got even less love for the circuit than I do, because he seems to be inventing a new one through that chicane. Here we go, DRS wide open, then into turn 27, going up the inside. Nothing that Luca Feiling can do. Eoin lapping 7/10 of a lap quicker than the KKR driver, who just about saves the rear end there. But now it's revenge, because he's in the slipstream. He will get DRS then, coming out onto the start-finish straight. Can he breeze all the way around the outside of the MS Performance? Yes, he can, Eoin. As look behind, Mike Quint attacks Savily for third.
And he's got him, but he needs to, yeah, it looks like a done deal there. The second part of the chicane, that's where the difference is finalised. Something's happened to Robin Merling, so he's in the pits. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, he's pitting, so a bit earlier than a lot of other drivers, perhaps with their scheduled stops. So yeah, just saw his name in red there. So it's an ordinary pit. So there we go. Big changes on the podium with Quint getting through for good as of right now, and then Tylene rebounding after Eoin got him in the last corner.
Mulling has actually come out in a pretty decent 12 seconds behind Jack Nichols, and quite a distance, about 25 seconds ahead of Matthias Micah. So Micah, of course, who was forced into that early pit stop because he lost his front wing. So and Micah has just set fast lap of the race, of course. So Mulling is actually, this could work out well for him, depending on how much progress he can make from there. But yeah, Mike Quint being very, very canny. Now we've got our first top 2 in the championship, second and third in this race, with Feiling, of course, showing that he's no slouch either. KKR have really upped their game even since round 1, as we see Svillo trying to defend a little bit further back in the pack from Riboli as he attacks Luke Mitchell. But Eoin now looking for another go. Is he going to go for it this time? Look at Feiling leaving plenty of room open the inside so he can get DRS once more.
But he's left Mike Quint available for the attack, and with Eoin pitting, it becomes Quint in second place, going for the race lead. But it is too much to ask from that positioning. He was right behind, so there's no movement to the inside. So yeah, it seemed like Tylene just got it a bit wrong in the final hairpin, and ultimately the tactics for the pits meant...
I'm not sure he necessarily got it wrong, Aaron. I think he was deliberately going wide so that he would get the DRS to get back, or in this case, defend from Mike Quint. So Eoin clearly just thought to himself, I don't want it. Whatever game you're playing, Luca, I want no part in it. I'm going to pit now, along with Muscat, Scott, DeVries, Villo, and Omari Watson, crucially, who pit just behind Eoin and has come out 2.6 seconds behind him on the road. So the way they emerged, they're about 1.8 seconds behind Gazowski, who also started on the hard time, is the highest of those still running on the hard tires. So they've just switched to it, so they'll have much fresher tires. So this is a good play from Eoin to try and undercut Feiling, and so hopefully if he comes out with a big enough gap, he won't have to worry too much about being caught in the latter stages, because these two will be just ebbing time while they fight one another out here.
Yeah, point taken. But yeah, it was quite a scenario, especially when the driver on the move had to come into the pits. Yeah, Tylene for the moment still has the race lead.
Is he going to do it again here? Not this time.
Just a little bit too far back.
And that's why he's pitting.
Yeah. Yeah, he takes the pit lane, so Tylene will react to what Ivanov did, trying to avoid the undercut. And so, yeah, this seems like the optimum lap for cars to come into the pits and get the harder compound suited and booted. So let's see with the strategy. It's Mike Quint who's got to drag the car for as long as he can to make sure that strategy will work.
Yeah, so there we go. Looks like Fylen has come out in between Ivanov and Watson then. So there's about 2-second gap between all of them as Micah now is going to use the DRS to go all the way around the outside of Muscat into turn 1. Can Jason Muscat break deep here to keep him behind? Yes, he can, and that's crucial because that has just come out. Was that Mike Quint still believes that must be Menno who's just come out ahead of both of them.
Jar, so yeah, we'll see.
Ooh, purple first sector for Mike Quint up front, so he's pushing. I think he's coming in this lap. Oh.
Yeah, spot on. Should be coming into the pits very soon. Yeah, he's really got to make this last opportunity count on the soft tires as they start to expire.
Ribberly on those worn softs, whereas Gazowski's on the hards, which he's been on since the beginning, on medium, sorry. We see yellow in the first sector. I think that might be Becky's in trouble.
Yeah, now we're checking Mateusz Gazowski. He's taking on the Kings Racing substitute, Massimiliano Riboli.
Well, Riboli's surely heading for the pits here.
Yeah.
Quint is as well.
Yeah, so on schedule for Mike Quint. Wopke Hoekstra in as well. But here's Tom Satterley. His chance to pull himself back onto the rostrum begins now. He's side by side with Rorschach. He's got the chance to lead out of turn 2. Got to mind the rear tire to front tire contact, and in fairness, yes, that was smartly done. Well played there by Satterley. Now we're starting to see things develop a bit. So Ivanov from Quint, from Tylene, Watson, and then Satterley. Yeah, it's Mitchell going a long way.
From Satterley, isn't it? Because he's started on the softs, he's gone for another set of softs. So surely that commits him to doing another stop to go on the harder tires. Let's look at Micah. Oh, you don't often see moves there, but he finally gets past Muscat there. No, it's Hoekstra, sorry. He was just overcoming there. I think Micah, who had to force into the early stop, is now starting to struggle to keep the HEPs at bay here.
Yeah, for sure. He needs to get moving to make this promising race end on good terms.
Oh, and Quint has passed Fylen. As look at this, Ivanov, who's undercut Fylen himself. Oh, now been cut off by Gazowski there. So this isn't good for his race, because now Mike Quint is catching him because of this.
Yeah, that's the thing about cars who are on the alternate tire. They have to be fully committed to it. They can't just say, all right, it's time to pit, because the soft tires have lasted between 11 to 13 laps. And if you're trying to go long, then it's just too premature to give up until absolutely necessary. So he must feel like he can get 11 laps or so on the softs with Luke Mitchell, the Iron Man, in terms of gaining the most positions on track and then pitting. So yeah, his chance to get some points for Lunark could be very close. Let's see how he gets on pit exit.
Oh, and Rozak at the first chicane has got back past Tom Satterley there. Much to Satterley's annoyance, he's not able to get the lap time out of these soft tyres. So while one MS Performance leads the race, the other one is finding their strategy absolutely ruined by this Parallax Volpino in front of him. So Rozak, the fly in the ointment, the spanner in the works.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, still a lot of work to do. This is Jack Nichols leading Jason Muscat for P12. And Mashka, oh yeah, he'll sense that opportunity. He's got a good run towards turn 13. He'll take the outside line. The banking will support this this audacious pass. Oh, so it seems like, yeah, he nailed that, and Muscat had no response.
Yeah, and Nichols is another one of those, like Gazowski, who started on the hard tyre. He's done 13 laps on it so far, so it's looking a little bit second hand. And Micah is on a 7-lap old hard, so they're about half as young are definitely significantly fresher, as Ian again looks up the inside with the DRS on that long sort of twisty back straight, which is a flat-out run. As the HGPs now look like they're about to squabble with each other over the 14th and 15th positions. But Micah then clears this pack and finds himself with a load of clear air to catch up to Menno Klont in front of him.
And Muscat will be through before the breaking point, and he may help his teammate as well. Double dose here for HGP. And yeah, Nichols just has to go the long way around, and he'll have Daniel Scott straight in behind him. So the Kings Racing team are asking him to go long, and then he'll try and rebound later in the stint. And David De Vries here for VMS on edits. You can perhaps put Scott under the Kosh here, side by side into turn 4. They'll go. But the advantage goes to the Team Rookie Monster.
But he took too shallow a line, had to cut across the chicane, and now he's going right against the wall as he tries to correct himself. So this is actually really good driving from David De Vries. Great to see him not just lasting longer in race 1 on this occasion, but also really fighting just outside the top 15 here. Once Nichols pits, him and Scott could be right in the box seats here. But the problem is Riboli, who has pit already, is right behind him too.
Yeah, for sure. So here comes Riboli, taking the medium line, I suppose, not too close to the wall on the inside or the outside. Of course, the fact that Scott will be giving DRS to De Vries will perhaps give him a chance to defend for a little while longer. And then, of course, Gazowski, he'll be on softs here. He can certainly play a part in this contest for the points, even off crossing the line to mark 10 laps to go in this feature race at Jeddah, the second round of the championship. Still plenty to play for. So Riboli on the inside, so 2x2, and perhaps the high line could help Nichols for a bit longer, and then Riboli could benefit. So yes, we have Kings Racing going together with DRS, so ideally Nichols will get out of the way now to help his teammate.
Yeah, I wonder if Nichols wanted to pit there and then just saw 4 cars up his inside as Riboli continues to fight with the Hyperion there, and just about holds off Gazowski on his soft tyres there. But interestingly, Mike Quint up front has been just nipping at the heels of Ivanov. He's just outside of DRS range of the MS Performance in front of him. So Mike Quint, with his higher wings, is really, really good in the twisty stuff, and that's keeping him in play here. As Luca Filin's starting to drop, might have to settle for third here, but he's got Omari Watson 6 tenths behind and lapping 2 tenths quicker the previous lap.
Yeah, those margins can make the difference as the race builds towards its conclusion. So yeah, without a doubt, Watson building up his confidence. Justin van der Smissen has been awarded a penalty. Could be as routine as speeding in pit lane. We'll find out what that might have been as soon as we can. Yeah, this is Watson's prime opportunity, leaning towards the curbs there in the final hairpin, and now he'll get the invitation to open DRS. He'll go to the outside, but as a matter of fact, no. Tylene for now has enough speed even without a ability to use DRS himself.
Yeah, and as we look at David De Vries still fighting away with Daniel Scott. The Scotsman's got the inside line, and now here comes Gazowski, who started at the very, very rear of the field. He's going to get a run on the VMS side, and it's David De Vries just cuts him off then. It's now that he gets a double slipstream. No DRS for the rookie monsters, but the 2 cars behind will benefit from it immensely. Are they going to go either side of Daniel Scott into turn 1? Gazowski has to back off and go right to the outside, just pop in front of the King's car of Riboli. So David De Vries holds on to 16th position. Daniel Scott, more importantly, holds on to 15th, and that final points paying position as Nichols and van der Smissen come into serve a pit stop and serve a penalty respectively. And there we go, De Vries through. As I look away through the twisty stuff, De Vries just instantly nips through on Daniel Scott there.
Yeah, really good timing there from De Vries, and that's his chance to...
Watson very close to file in now, 3 tenths of a second, Eoin, sorry.
Of course, no problem. It's really, really high stakes now with the the podium on the line between Tylene and Watson. And then, yeah, there is a chance for Rorschach. He has a chance to pull off a big surprise here.
What happened to Savalou? Because he was about 7 tenths behind going into this lap, wasn't he? He's not had a good middle sector. He was about 7 tenths slower. There he is. So the softs are starting to die. He's got to come in for his final stop for hards. Savalou, this strategy has backfired on him horribly. In he comes. And Rozak has really made his work actually. So I'm impressed considering his tyres were just completely chewed through at the end of Australia, wasn't he? He was just dropping places left and right. And this time he's really stayed in the top 5 on merit, while all around him have lost their heads, it seems.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, the stress levels, I'm sure, are building as Jeddah really starts to weigh down our drivers and test our stamina. Riboli to the outside. Yeah, you can't really contest a 3 wide. Oh my goodness, out of the pit lane comes Satherley. Oh, and that's a huge relief to get away from a 3-car contest and hold on to a championship point as of right now. So he's got to turn up the boost. Oh, the cold tires have given up on him. He's lost the position straight away to Kozovsky, and he's wide.
And he's got a penalty for cutting the track as well.
Pit lane. Yeah, now he's cutting the track. So it must have been pit lane speeding. And that's
all imploding for Tom now.
He'll have to take this as a learning experience into race 2. MS performance to the fact that Ivanov is just pulling such a strong start to the year out of the hat. The fact that MS performance perhaps could contend for the team's championship as well. The loss of a handful of points here, probably 9 or 10 points more, that will be felt if Sadali, if he can't put a smile on the bad situation, maybe look on it with a bit of a little bit of a grin, I suppose you can think about it next time. Zabinski now, can you make the move? The stream is just frozen on me, so
we'll just guess what's happening. Looks like Mully. Oh, holds on around the outside then, but a typical Saudi delay it seems in the coverage. But yeah, going back to Savali then, as we look at Rozak, who gets past Omari Watson, who makes a mistake then. So Watson, who was challenging Filin for 3rd, finds himself in difficulties as Savali comes in to serve that penalty, Eoin. But yeah, Tom Savali, remember he wasn't even supposed to be in that car at the beginning of the season. I think it still says Cass Rietvald's name on the side of it. So considering the late call-up, he has done a really, really strong job all the same. I think it was the wrong strategy today. If he'd not had to make that second pit stop, if he'd done what Ivanov did, went for the hards, then he might still be in the top 5 at the moment, potentially top 4 as well.
Yeah, that was an unorthodox strategy, to be honest. Perhaps if the top 5 were a class ahead, maybe pulling out 2-stopper would have worked. He could have fit in perhaps to 12th or 11th on a good run. I'm afraid it has completely unraveled on him. So the positions 12 through 13 belong to the HGP duo, and they'll try their best to apply the pressure to the Multiforce. And then O'Clant, he's got 11th place at the moment, so he's got to watch out for 1, and then potentially Wopke Hoekstra could come in with this double DRS boost and come in for the attack.
I think Quint has now just crept into DRS zone on Ivanov, actually, the battle for the lead, as we look at Rozak trying to get on the podium here. Now that Watson has made that mistake, it leaves Filin absolutely at his mercy. And let's not forget, all 3 of them, I think, apart from Watson, who I think tried to undercut, didn't he? Because he's on 2-lap older tyres than the 2 ahead of him. So that might be why Watson is struggling at the moment.
Yeah, it's certainly.
Quint is on 3-lap pressure tyres than Ivanov, Eoin. So that's why we're seeing Mike Quint still setting competitive lap times, and Ivanov really having to stretch. He was able to lap a 10th of a lap quicker the previous lap, but 2 tenths slower in the first sector then. So Mike Quint is coming here for that lead.
Yeah, so our winners from the opening evening are going head-to-head in the 3rd race of the championship here in round 2. So this is already a significant moment of the season. We'll see how it gets on, but of course Eoin tried the undercut to pull out some time when the others were going a bit longer, and then on the inverse, Quint has fresher tyres. On the inside line for the podium, it's Patrick Rorschach. He's completed the first segment of the move, but of course the counter-attack, Tylene is fully prepared for such a possibility. He's going to be guided to the pit lane entry.
It was a bit forceful from Rorschach, but he left just enough room. Luca Filin has enough room, as there's a little wiggle from Rorschach in the braking zone, but Filin retakes the podium. So both Filin and Rorschach have one podium each in FS1. How dearly they both love a second one. Omari Watson, of course, has taken quite a few podiums and won before in FS1. And these two squabbling allows that more experienced British driver to close on the pair of them. So Watson is getting back into this fight now.
Yeah, it's exceptional. We have 5 different teams with their drivers all going for the podium. 2 separate battles, first versus second, and then third down to fifth, all eager to get some champagne at the end, well, rosewater, I should say, of course, at the end of this one. So
we can let them have champagne.
Yeah,
anything that
others in their house, they can have champagne if they want. For simulation's sake, it would be rosewater if they were in person.
Of course, yes. But anyway, Mike Quint laps another 10th of a second quicker than Ivanov up front. The gap just under 7/10 of a second, 6/10 actually with the DRS open here. So Mike Quint getting closer and closer every lap. So Ivanov at the end of this race can't come soon enough for him. He wants to make it 2 race 1 wins in a row. But whoever wins this will come out leading the championship into race 2, of course.
Yes, absolutely. The gap between them is just the 2 points, 35 to 33. But of course, Hamming not around today, doesn't have the opportunity to enter the championship battle. And now on the inside, here comes Quint, wheel banging. It's going to be forced up high.
He let him get through there.
Yeah,
that contact.
Yeah, Quint will say he had the move completed, but I suppose even if I think we can let him have one benefit of the doubt. But if it happens again, then yeah, Quint will definitely have words to say. And Riboli putting the tank slapper on there. He really wants to get a championship point here. De Vries defending so far, and it will be just perhaps a fraction too far to overtake here, but keeping the tiny margin will absolutely put De Vries under pressure.
2 lap pressure tyres for Riboli here as he desperately tries to find a way past De Vries. But yeah, I think Mike Quint there, who's now just less than 2/10 behind Ivanov, starts to catch back up again. I think that was just because Mike Quint, infamously a driver that plays very, very fair, and we've seen it before in this championship, haven't we? So I think Ivanov feels he's a pretty fair driver as well. So I think if there's a collision and it's the other way, it goes the other way, I think Ivanov would do the same thing. So I think it was just very, very... They both wanted to keep it clean into turn 1 without making contact, and Ivanov tried to a little bit, thought he had a little bit of overlap around the outside. There was a little collision, and I think Mike Quint thought, well, okay, fair enough. I'll get slipstream and do it again the following lap.
Yeah, that's probably the way to solve a squabble, to let them fight as fairly as possible. But yeah, this time Ivanov will have the ground covered, so he had the track blocked, but yeah, so close. Better exit for Quint. He has to stay in first gear until the ability to get back on the power. So yeah, it's going to be a case of with 3 to go, it may just be a case where he'll not make a move until the penultimate lap and then try and make a break to ensure there's no counterattack. So yeah, maybe 3 laps to go is too soon, oddly enough, to make
Filin and Rorschach still squabbling over third, by the way, Eoin. So yeah, looks like Filin and Rorschach just swapping it just before the DRS zone. So Luca Filin back to his old tricks. As round the outside goes Riboli to take the final point away from David De Vries. The VMS Sun Edits, how dearly they want to get 1 point to their name after such difficulties on their FS1 debut in Australia. But King's Racing have absolutely taken it with both hands here. So David De Vries will have to try and stay in the DRS. That's his best hope here.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's just got to hang on in there and fight back to get the VMS Sun Edits very first point of the season on the board. But nevertheless, we have the mixture of teams here. Kaizen Kota Racing promoted to FS1, and of course Parallax Volpino Racing, slight name change, and then the always stable and well regarded Netrex team also competing for the podium.
Here we go. So Mike Quint there, a little bit deep on the brakes, trying to maximize his exit here. Once more the DRS opens. Will Victor Ivanov up the fuel mix then as they start the final lap of the race here in Jeddah? And they cross the line, and Mike Quint is just all over the back, has to make sure he doesn't bump into the rear of Victor Ivanov as Rozak now tries to get a wheel alongside, trying to once more make a move for third position, and there we go. Phylan has to back out.
Well, he won't give up just yet into turn 4 coming, but I had a look at Tylene's car. I thought he was really close
wheels.
to. Oh, look at that. I was just saying, Tylene was very close to the retaining wall that separates the circuit from the pit lane. He was really close. Yeah, that wasn't very far away at all. And absolutely exceptional to defend the position in the end. He got it back with the wheel-to-wheel contest. So yeah, it's Tylene doing everything he can to get this huge podium for KKR. And Watson just has to just watch, because yeah, it's just impossible with two cars going side by side to make any interference against them.
Yeah, the Omari Watson strategy right now is hope that Rozak does something crazy move on Phylan. Phylan gets overzealous defending, and they both crash into each other, and you can get through to third that way. That's probably his best shot here. And Harry Smith, to be fair, bringing home decent results in 6th by backing up Omari Watson in the team's championship here. As we look at that big battle between Mitchell, actually, right behind Harry Smith as well. And now Mike Quint gets up for what will be, this is actually the final lap, yes. I think, it was the penultimate lap they were just starting. So here we go.
Now or never. Mike Quint goes the outside line again. Yeah, there's plenty of space this time. Ivanov has got the traction, I think, out of the corner. Wheel to wheel again. This is unbelievable. The final lap coming down to the very, very finest of margins, and Ivanov sensationally defends. So that ability to exit turn 2 quickly has kept him alive in this race for a little bit longer. So absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, he's managed those older tyres really, really well in this situation. I wonder if Mike Quint will regret letting him through there. Look at this, the HTP's now attacking Maiko, who's had to run long because that early stop to make his strategy work. Through comes Hoekstra and Muscat as well. Hoekstra, that's actually Maiko doing exactly what we saw Ivanov do, but struggling on exit here. Both the HTPs nipping at his heels, swarming around like a pair of angry red and green bees. Even though bees are not that colour. But here we go then. I think Ivanov has only got a few more corners to go then, just to keep Mike Quint behind. It could come down to a run to the line, you know.
Yeah, it's down to the final hairpin and how Mike Quint he tackles it. It could be a case he goes deep on the inside, or he could go the high line and try and just push as hard as he can. So here we go. He's going to ride the opportunity. Oh, he tried a little switchback as well, and incredibly Victor was alert to it. Now he'll try the car, and he slides backwards. He faces, hitting the wall, but he'll have track position. Then around the outside comes Rozak. Still Tyley defends. He's got to be alert to the debris. Sliding himself, but Ivanov has won it. Crossing the line in the end. He's performed exceptionally to hang on to this victory, and across the line for third, it's Tylene. Tylene beats Rozak.
Oh my goodness. Mike Quint just pushing it. Look, you could, even with the fresher tyres, he pushed them that a little bit too far, and it cost him in the end, as we see Hoekstra continuing to score with Maiko. Maiko doing a great defensive job here, but will Vopke Hoekstra get him on the line with the DRS here? He pulls to the outside. One of the Hyperions challenging his teammate as well. Hoekstra gets through.
Yes.
And 11th will be his, I think. Or was he just behind there?
Ooh, I thought
behind.
he was...
The line was a bit earlier than I thought it was. Okay. I got it wrong. Maiko 11th.
Maiko, yeah, he made absolutely sure of it. It looked like he lifted off from the camera angle, but yeah, it seemed like he was satisfied to cross the earlier start-finish line. But there we go. Victor Ivanov extends his championship lead, winning race 1 for the second day in a row. And MS Performance Could they have possibly envisioned a situation like this?
Not when they got out-qualified, I'm sure. Not when they lost the lead to Luca Filan as well after the first corner, and to Micah as well. So he really had to fight for that one, but Ivanov kept his head, was able to use a good strategy, undercut those around him, and then held on to the tyres at the end against Mike Quint in a fabulous battle. So you've got to feel a little bit from Mike Quint, but luckily he holds on to second despite not holding on to his front wing.
Yeah, for sure. And Remco on broadcast direction had a lot to juggle there with the two battles for the top 5 all going to the wire. And indeed, we had Hoekstra to the line as well. So let's summarize it as best we can. Ivanov wins with an exceptional defense from Mike Quint, who lost his front wing but was able to turn around and complete the race. Tylene beats Roshak, another wonderful battle. Then Watson tried his best, but there was just no way through. Mitchell, Smith, Zubinski, Mulling, and Klant are the top 10. And the remaining points go to Mashka beating out Hoekstra, but then of course HGP get the substitution Muscat in for 13th, Matthews Kozowski 14th, and Massimiliano Riboli gets Kings Racing another point. David De Vries will be very rueful there, he's so close, but maybe the reverse grid could unleash a surprise or two. Then of course our top 20, Christopher Svillo, he's unfortunate as well to miss out on points. Tom Parker 18th, Daniel Scott 19th, Federico Russo 20th. And then our drivers 21st down to 23rd all finished on the lead lap. That's Jack Nichols, Jonas Abler, Isaac Clark. In fairness, he had that loss of traction in turn 1, losing his rear wing
as well. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Ballas Becky's made it to 23rd. Van der Smissen a lap down, 25th place for him. But DNFs for Satterley, Jemson, and the 100-to-1 pair of Van Sand and Moat. Oh my goodness, what an ending.
We didn't even talk about Luke Mitchell in 6th. Fantastic for our reigning FS2 champion. And he was one of the ones who ran long on the hards at the start and then switched to the softs near the end to catch Harry Smith and pass him. So while we were watching that fight for the lead, Luke Mitchell doing an exceptional job for Lunark's best result this season so far.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So it really is important for Lunark. They have a strong position depending on what number is drawn. But I'm sure our chat agrees it's time for a break, but don't miss out on race 2. It could be another very special occasion. So one moment, we'll be back very soon. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you've got fully refreshed because we're coming straight into the sprint race here in FS1 for 2024 at Jeddah. And there is our pulse hitter revealed from our reverse grid draw, Ed. It's Matthew Zabinski for Hyperion.
Yep, a very, very solid driver. Zabinski was able to survive the chaos to get into P8, and luckily, from his point of view, that's put Hyperion onto reverse grid pole here. But there's some very, very quick drivers immediately behind him. The two net rexes of Smith and Watson, and of course Luke Mitchell, who's P6. Not to mention our race 1 winner Eoin as well.
Precisely, Zabinski, he's already on the move here. He wants to get this formation lap done. But let's run down the entire grid with, of course, Smith behind, Mitchell third, and Watson fourth. Roshak has a chance for a bit of a redemption, missing out on that podium with Tylene sixth, Quint seventh, and Eoin down in eighth at the behest of the reverse grid. Robin Mulling and Menno Klont in the top 10, Matthews Mashka and Wopke Hoekstra 11th and 12th. The other HGP is Muscat in 13th, Guzovsky in the second Hyperion is 14th, Riboli with a chance for another point or two ahead of David De Vries, who will be really eager to get going and maybe get himself some points. Sfillo, Parker, Scott and Russo, some big names there, complete the top 20. Jack Nichols and Isaac Clark side by side. Clark has a lot of work to do if he wants to get some points after that pole position in race 1. His teammate for Pixelate is Abler in 23rd, Alas Becky's in 24th, with Justin van der Smissen and Charlie Jemson 25th, 26th. The 100 to 1s are together. Sandro Van San from Archie Moa, and 29th and bottom it's Giuseppe Saracino, so he's come in to Griffon again, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely not an ideal first race for Saracino, because I don't think it really got going for him. He was, of course, on the podium second in the first race in Australia, and then struggled after some contact with Lucchini to get into the top 8 in race 2 in Australia. So Saracino keen to put that bump behind him, as indeed are several others, like Isaac Clark, who is hoping to have a much cleaner first corner this time. But don't forget as well, in 11th, Micah, who recovered some ground after losing his front wing in an incident while leading. Keen to at least try and get into the top 6, top 7 here. There's a good opportunity if there's some chaos ahead, and we are expecting chaos. Balas Becky's sensibly going to start from the pit lane to try and supersede and avoid it.
Yeah, so tire strategy on screen there. We'll definitely double check just in case anything changes. But the majority are going for what I imagine is the zero stop strategy. It's Daniel Scott, 19th. He's gone for the soft. So now here we go. It seems like all changed. So we'll double check everything as the lights extinguish. And here's the rundown. Good start for Zabinski. He's left the door a little bit open to Smith. He closes it straight away. And now on the high line there's Mitchell. Oh. Yellows could be a bit of a spin maybe, or delay. Didn't see anything necessarily yet. Did you spot anything?
Yeah, Aldo was going 3 wide here into 3 and 4. Mitchell and Rozak side by side, and Mitchell, who sort of just dived at the inside of Harry Smith at turn 2, and has given Zabinski 8 tenths of breathing space then at the end of the first sector, that Harry Smith will be keen to close down again. But yeah, Luke Mitchell now has fallen behind Omari Watson crucially. So this is a good first couple of corners for Netrex then. Both cars exactly where they wanted them to be. Look in the background, Mike Quint, highest of those who started on the soft tyres. Daniel's got Isaac Clark also taking the gamble, as is Van Sand and Moat in the 100 to 1s.
Yeah, that's crucial, especially Quint. He'll want to get moving very quickly. And the fact that he's behind Tylene.
Oh, bad start even off. He's fallen behind Micah.
Yeah, that's a concern for him, losing positions. And long way around for Riboli. Here we go, one-on-one. The HGP of Muscat, and he's missed out. He can still try again. Bearing in mind, Tom Parker is on his right-hand side. Oh, potential for a 3 wide, but it's shut down. Then the other Hyperion of Gazovsky's there, so 2x2 formation, and that would be Abler, I think, having a look. Anything that might unravel for one of these drivers, but yeah, in the big queue they come. Zabinski maintains the lead.
Oh, and look at this, Luca Feilen again, fighting with Patrick Rozak into turn 1, all cooped up behind Luke Mitchell here. And this is backing them into Mike Quint, who isn't actually starting on the softs, he's on the hards like everyone else then, so it's like misread that timing screen there, unfortunately. It's Gazowski deals with Tom Parker through that first chicane, but now he's got Ribbley, just cutting the track ahead of them and just rejoining over the chicane. So tricky to keep it on the island here, especially in these opening laps where the tyres are a little bit cold, the fuel tanks are full, everyone just trying to keep it steady here. So I believe that graphic is wrong on the left. Quint is definitely on the same tyres as those around him. It's Scott, Clark, and Van Sand. It looks like Isaac Clark is in trouble again because he's dropped down to 27th, and both the 100 to 1s again having an early bar for you because they're both out of the race.
Many days. I have to feel terribly sorry for them. They've probably only got less than a kilometre of race time between them in these two races. They're gone almost as soon as they appeared, so yeah, it'll be a 2-week break and they'll have to regroup all over again for our next race in Suzuka. Eoin, he wants to expand his championship lead that little bit more, and it's not happening as of right now with the rookie monster of Muelling. There we go, you can see on the rear wing sticker the rookie monsters team will be cheering on their driver, taking on our championship leader, and he has to back out because he wants the proper slipstream. But it may have given Clont an impetus to attack. He needs 2 bites of the cherry, to be honest, before DRS is fully enabled. Yeah, Menno Clont has to back out in the end, but yeah, that would have been opportunistic driving if that worked out.
Oh, and look behind, is that Riboli going a bit wide while he fights with Gazowski for the 14th position there, but just about emerging in front. Meanwhile, Watson sets the fastest lap of the race, 140.3, so he's 4 tenths behind Harry Smith, who's 4 tenths behind Zabinski. I reckon Netrex might do a swap here.
Yeah, they'd be absolutely wise to. Watson and Martin last season made a great pairing. They understood. And
there we go.
Spot on, well called. Watson, yeah, his chance to build from his 5th place finish and get Billy moving in this championship. It's the right call for the team. Smith backing him up will be, that'll be highly promising for them. But of course, both drivers scored strong points in Melbourne. But Watson has the extra bit of experience, and he should have the first priority to try and win this race.
Remember, Netrex are fighting Multiforce GP for the lead of the team's championship. Netrex were the runners-up last season, so keen to go one better. Multiforce led the first half of last season with Quint and Clont, and before those connection issues for Quint really derailed and he just couldn't participate in the second half of the season, pretty much entirety of it. So Mike Quint having another good start to the season and hoping to keep it going. But look here, Riboli now fighting with Muscat ahead of him as Gazowski in tow, looking to get a double slipstream down the main straight here as DRS will open for all of them.
Yes, so their first proper go on DRS with the start-finish straight lead to the first chicane. Riboli goes to the outside, but becomes the inside. Yeah, it could be a case, the traction should benefit Muscat. And there we go, he's defended his position, and on the prowl is Gazowski. But again, it's too much to ask to overtake there to turn 4 into 5, so good yielding, I suppose, and then you can come in later for another opportunity. But we change.
Robin Mulling hit trouble here, Aaron, because he was right in front of Ivanov, and he's dropped down to 20th behind Brett Nichols. So has Mulling come in for early pits? No, he hasn't. He's just put it around somewhere, I think, on the previous lap. Ivanov sits a purple first sector and to try and catch back up to Micah. So he's not giving up and trying to chase down Mike Quint. And that's your explanation. Front wing one from the rookie monster.
Yeah, that is highly frustrating for him. He was doing such a splendid job now using the runoff as best he can to make sure the loss of the downforce doesn't distract any opposition drivers. Riboli through. Riboli gets the job done into the 22-23 chicane. Muscat now has got to stay true to his car and avoid a double defeat with Gazowski coming now. He'll have the shot of DRS, but no, the inside line is not available. But here comes the final approach into the start-finish straight. the thing to do. But of course, yeah, Muscat will get DRS back against Rivoli. Even off, yes, he logs in the new fastest lap at 1:39.915. So yeah, now that he has a bit of clear air in front of him, he can start to attack the Alpha Delta of Mashka.
Yeah, 4/10 quicker than Micah on that previous lap then. So he takes Micah in the Alpha Delta. He's going to hope that the DRS from the back of Mike Quint is going to save him here from any attack. But look how tightly bunched pretty much all of the top 9 are here. All of them within half a second of each other, certainly within DRS range of one another. So Zabinski starting to hold up Watson a little bit here. And the longer Zabinski stays there, the more he'll be able to predict where Omari Watson's going to attack, and he'll be able to cover that, anticipate his movements before they happen, and that will be bad news for Netrex. Robin Mulling has made it to the pits now, putting on a new front wing. But it's going to be difficult for Rookie Monsters to score points because Daniel Scott on the softs is not making great progress in 16, just outside the points, and he's got another pit stop to make, surely, unless he can be the tyre whisperer here in Saudi Arabia, which I do think is going to be a bit of a tough job for him.
Yeah, it would be difficult to book the trend of our feature race and get those softs to last the full 17 laps here. They were at their ultimate, I suppose, 11 to 13 laps. That was the ideal window from our contenders for the victory on the podium. That's what I saw from them. And yeah, it would make sense just to try and split the strategy 50-50 or maybe 60-40 if he feels that he has a chance to make some overtakes. Here's Roshak.
Just move for the lead, Eoin.
Oh yes, let's see if Watson can get it. No, I'm afraid not.
It looked like Watson pulled out to the right there to try and intimidate Zabinski into turn 1, and forcing Zabinski to get defensive. So now this could be where the moves start to happen.
Yeah, checking out any potential for maybe Luke Mitchell to catch up.
Oh, Watson tagged the wall there. Really pushing
yeah.
and just tagging it on the inside. And that's given a bit of breathing space to Matthew Zabinski.
Yeah, that will certainly boost his chances. Of course, yeah, here's Mitchell himself. He'd love to get Harry Smith, making him sweat a bit. Of course, yeah, these sweepers, it's not possible. Of course, yeah, here's a chance for... Oh, and I think that was a bump of the wall for the Parallax Volpino as well. So it hasn't unsettled him whatsoever. Here we come into the scary chicane, side by side. Oh, he's blocked.
Yeah, it's more sensible from Rozak to back out there, and that's good because we saw a lot of races where Rozak would be doing quite well last year in the second half of the season, and then he would just bin it from a decent position. Monza definitely comes to mind, race 2 there. It's very chaotic on his part, but now he's got to the outside as they're going to turn 27. He's setting Luke Mitchell up for a move here, and potentially he can drag Philin, Quint and Micah with him.
Yeah, so Micah, here he goes, a chance to see what he can do in the back of this queue. No, DRS, oh, 3 wide, and Tylene, oh, a bit of contact as well. That's Micah making the contact with Quint. Oh, that was unreal from Tylene again. Like, he just pulls out these moves from out of nothing.
Yeah, he just completely sold the dummy and they went 3 wide. There's Micah makes another mistake. I'm amazed Micah saved that one because I thought he was going to spin around and hit the back of Mike Quint there. But unfortunately for Victor Ivanov, that didn't happen. So he's still got to find a way past that Alpha Delta to keep a healthy lead in that championship over Mike Quint and company, with Watson looking to gain big here.
Yeah, this will be really, really tense moments now. Yeah, Watson still thinking what can he do to get this race lead.
Yeah, Zabinski laps fast lap the race, 140.6 there on almost fast lap the race, but he was 4/10 a lap quicker than Omari Watson with that mistake from Watson in sector 2 there. So yeah, the pressure really on, but Watson has started to claw the time back then on this lap.
Absolutely. So here's his chance. He's gained about 3/10 compared to race leader Zabinski on this lap. 1 sector to go, of course. And he will get the routine DRS, but on the outside, here's the other Hyperion. against the competing Lunark. So Tom Parker. Yes, absolutely, yeah. Tom Parker through.
For the lead.
There we go. It's Watson. Oh, he slid it. And Zabinski will be straight to race control, saying he gained the advantage. He did not complete the move fairly. And Harry Smith is actually... Yeah, Harry Smith will have to lift. Yeah, so good sportsmanship from Watson. That was a incomplete move, so he yielded, and thank goodness for him, it was his teammate who was able to adapt. Yeah, Harry Smith maybe could have gone for it himself to try and pressure Zabinski for a bit longer, but no, he was correct to yield and give his teammate another chance. Mike Quint.
Thank goodness they had the gap to do that in, because Luke Mitchell holding everyone up has allowed Luca Filin through, and we saw Rozak really bringing the rear tyres at the exit of these corners to try and challenge Luke Mitchell here. So Mitchell trying to get his best FS1 finish after getting P6 in race 1, but now Luca Filin is going to just break away and make hay here.
Yeah, great opportunity to make a break for it and see what he can do in the chase for the podium. But yeah, Quint, yeah, he's got to play the balancing game, because his championship contender, Eoin, is now right behind. So yeah, Mike just a little bit too far back for the moment there. You can just spot him in the background, or the foreground, I suppose. Now this is a run for Quint against Rozak. He's just sit in for the moment, yeah, making sure he doesn't outbrake himself and make contact. Oh, he has made contact there. Very bump and run there, but the run, it's not possible at the moment, as of course Rozak gained a little bit of momentum actually. And Quint, here he comes, picking the outside line, and it is blocked.
Yeah, Rozak likes to make himself a tough man to pass, doesn't he? As we look here, this is the second Alpha Delta. No, this is Micah, who dropped a couple of seconds behind Eoin after he passed him, so I think a mistake from Micah now has put him into clutches of Hoekstra. He'll be grateful for the DRS after holding off Riboli and Clont in the first half of this race. Daniel Scott has got on to 13th on his soft tyres, but surely he's going to have to pit again. So a good drive from the second rookie monsters nonetheless there.
That's for definite. Rookie monsters, you want to see what they can get out of this race. Still lots to fight for in the championship on the top and the battle to stay away from the bottom. And Watson's next opportunity to take the lead will have to be at the beginning of lap 10 here, because Zabinski 4/10 of a second clear. It's plenty in these equal machinery. There you go, the scary chicane, I'll call it 22-23. You have to be alongside in advance of making the move there. And then the 3/10 or half a second actually. Oh, and Rozak penalised. Oh, that's huge.
That's a big shame there, because he was holding off Mike Quint convincingly, and either a track cut or some sort of infraction that we haven't seen then on stream. But Watson, though, how dearly he would love a Netrex 1-2 here, but he's got to find a way past Zabinski, and it's got to be clean, hasn't it? Here we go, right in the DRS once more.
He's too far back at the moment, so yeah, that's a miss. But I think Eoin is overtaking Quint. Is that an overtake for position? It looks like it to me.
He has, and that's with the DRS. So as Rozak was coming in, he must have blocked Mike Quint ever so slightly, and that has given the opportunity for Eoin to just go around the outside of him on the start-finish straight. And they've both cleared Luke Mitchell too.
Really, really good opportunism there from Eoin. So there's a huge gap now to think about, so it's far from over. Quint has plenty of time to fight back, and wide goes the King's car of Riboli. So he's missed out badly there. He was all the way in 10th, and now he's slipped out of the points entirely. And down the inside, Jason Muscat into turn 13.
It's two again.
Side by side. They just can't be separated, these two. But Riboli, he's going to be furious to have lost crucial ground in this race, and therefore all of his hard-earned points, Scott down to Van der Smissen, they all benefit.
Yep, and Justin Van der Smissen, remember, retired in that first race, didn't he? Or finished right near the back in like 25th, 24th, 23rd. Now he's running just inside the points, which would be crucial for VMS. Remember, his teammate David De Vries, who's a complete GPV rookie before the season, was just outside the points in race 1. As we look at Tom Parker trying to go round the outside of Menno Clont into turn 27. That's Daniel Scott on the soft tyres ahead of them. Is Scott starting to struggle then in the last couple of laps? And this is allowing Menno and Tom to get into play here in this fight for the top 10.
Yeah, it's all developing, but Parker, yeah, he's going to go alongside for position against Clont, with Daniel Scott on the horizon, probably on the verge of needing tyres. And yes, Parker has completed the pass, and he'll be further buoyed by the opportunity to get into the top 10.
Oh, Zabinski's lost the lead.
Oh no, he's lost the lead suddenly. Would have been in the sweepers. And Harry Smith
made contact with Watson, because Watson's down to third as well. So Filin up to P2, and look up the inside comes Ivanov on Zabinski.
This is just extraordinary. Our pole sitter from reverse grid draw could be completely knocked out of the top 5 if Ivanov or Quint can get this move completed. Let's just see. Quint will have to watch tire to tire. That is a highly, highly risky moment. And there's contact. Zabinski will not yield. The stewards will look at that as close as possible, because this is highly consequential to our early championship playbook.
Here we go. Are they going to go 3 wide here? Is Mike Quint going to do it? No, he just slots in behind Ivanov. Is he going to slot through the middle here as Ivanov goes the long way around?
Yeah, he stays the high line, bearing in mind.
Filin attacking Harry Smith for the lead here, and Luca Filin takes the lead with just another 5 laps to go here in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and in the background you can see Ivanov still on the attack. Quint looking in the middle. Oh, more contact, and it spears him almost into Quint's path. Through goes Luke Mitchell, for the moment at least, because side by side they come into turn 4. And yes, Mitchell completes the move. Zabinski takes to the runoff, and yet he really does have to yield now. Watching out for Wopke Hoekstra in the background now. Through
Micah as well.
Through almost when Micah, he slides. The Alpha Delta with a slide. Almost lost control. But there you go. It's a complete U-turn in this race, with Tylene taking the lead away from the Netrex team, who had been plotting this opportunity to win with Watson. But it's Smith who has the baton at the moment.
Yeah, and I can only assume Watson tried to make a move on Zabinski, and then we saw exactly what happened with Ivanov. He squeezed him. I imagine something very similar has happened with him and Watson, which is why Watson's now behind Filin and Smith. But this has backfired a bit for Netrex, because now KKR in the box seats to win this one. So Harry Smith, is he going to let Watson through again, or is he going to challenge himself, because Watson might be damaged here?
Yeah, Watson, I'm sure, hasn't gotten away scot-free from that earlier incident. And as a matter of fact, yeah, Ivanov is coming. So yeah, the instruction, I'm sure, is for Harry Smith. He's got to think about his own race with Watson.
Team championship too.
Yeah, the team's championship is the key, really. Smith can contend for the win. Don't mind Watson and his opportunity. He'll try his best, I'm sure, using all his years of experience. And Quint to the inside of Mitchell. He'll get his place back that he almost certainly would have feared was lost after seeing the Hyperion come sliding in his path. But there we go, Quint. Yeah, he's only got the 5 laps or thereabouts to recover that lost ground. Yeah, Mitchell, he did his best, but it was just impossible to keep Quint at bay.
I wonder if how many of these drivers Zabinski's not going to be on the Christmas card list at the end of this one. But wait, Luke Mitchell, I wondered Luna going slightly higher wings as well, because the straight line speed, even with DRS, was not particularly stellar from the Lunark then. So without the tyre delta and the brilliant strategy from race 1, Luke Mitchell finds a bit of a struggle to stay in the top 4. So 6th it will be at the moment, just ahead of Zabinski. Harry Smith has not given up on this win, and he's just trying his best to drag Watson with him here, isn't he? Because that protects him against Victor Ivanov.
Yeah, exactly. Really important to Smith's race that he can keep up with Tylene, and then if Watson can stay in that interval himself, that will be so crucial as well. A few drivers have pitted for fresh tyres, so they're going to nail some fastest laps in. So Smith taking a standard enough line as Tylene puts in a defense, and we've got a fire as Rebolo made contact. It must have been Daniel Scott, I think.
Oh,
Yes.
and that was Scott on those warm, soft tyres as well. It looks like Scott and Riboli just came together, and Scott blew the engine a bit as well. And Riboli is sadly out of the race after losing his front wing too. So they were blocking the track. They had to get out of the way, and this promotes Rozak after his penalty back into the points as Klont now up the inside of Jonas Abler, who's had a really solid race himself. Now running just inside the top 11 is Menno Klont going to get up the inside. I think he's going to have the line for the next couple of corners, and that's Van der Smissen fighting Kozłowski in behind them.
Yeah, for sure. So Klont gaining the optimism. I'm sure he psychologically knew his teammate pulled off a move just like that a little earlier on, so that would benefit him. And of course, Van der Smissen got to find as much time as he can against our Hyperion driver that has tumbled down the order. Oh no, sorry, Kozłowski, excuse me. Let's see how he gets on in his defense. Get Hyperion double points to that tonight. Yeah, this will be really important for both these teams to have these drivers hang on in there to the very end.
Oh, nice save from Van der Smissen there. Had it just under control for another of the scary chicanes here. They're all pretty scary if you ask me, but Justin Van der Smissen really showing the pace that he's capable of here in race 2 and challenging for these minor points, which is good news. Exactly where VMS really would have expected and hoped to be, I think, in the opening couple of races. Harry Smith, meanwhile, 3/10 behind, 3/10 quicker the previous lap than Luca Violin, so it's not over yet. He's going to have a couple more shots, but Violin, you have to say, he's been the real standout in some of these opening races. Again, we're going to go free wide, and up the inside goes Abler, up the inside goes Van der Smissen to both gain places there.
Yeah, wow, really. So two separate battles within a hairline of each other, and they're just going neck and neck, really, using more DRS. And Klont will want that position straight back against Jonas Abler. And very hot into turn 1 goes Van der Smissen. He may be able to catch it in time. As a matter of fact, Kozłowski slid himself, so that spares Van der Smissen. But Abler holds on for a little bit longer. Maybe Klont can go the high line between 5 and 6. Misses out. So here we go, the single file portion of the track, and maybe a bit of momentum has fallen Van der Smissen's way. Wide goes Kozłowski. So here comes Van der Smissen. It's an overtaking place if you're feeling up to it, but no, the high line will not pay off there.
So positions remain the same then. Meanwhile, up front, Harry Smith, half a second behind Luca Violin and Mario Watson, another 6/10 down, then another half a second to Ivanov, and Mike Quint 1.3 seconds down and starting to close. He's setting personal best laps of the race to try and get back into this DRS train after losing that time fighting Zabinski and overtaking Luke Mitchell there. In fact, there he is. Not a great run by Ivanov, and Mike Quint has joined this battle then. I have a feeling if these guys all fight each other, then Violin and Smith might have the front all to themselves.
Yeah, it's really Watson is the kingmaker at the moment in the middle of this 5-way battle. Ooh. Smith to the outside. Can he slow it down in time? Tylene uses the inside curbing very effectively, and that gives him a fantastic exit. And he's suddenly found 3/4 of a second on Smith. So Watson, yeah, he'll be alert to what happened there. Smith got outfoxed, and maybe Tylene is turning up the boost and making a huge breakaway, and the championship contenders 4th and 5th at the minute.
Yeah, and here we go. This is Saracino, who started right at the back of the grid. Apparently he got home late from work, which is why he missed race 1. Not missing this one. Jack Nichols on the outside here as they go into turn 1. Saracino, podium finisher in this championship 2 times in the past, goes clean around the outside, completes the move. Very, very solid move. Unfortunately, 1 place at 18 seconds outside the points for Giuseppe Saracino.
Oh no, it's Zabinski! Oh, it just goes from bad to worse.
Is that Micah? He crashed into the back up there.
Yeah, it would have been Micah he hit, and his race looked promising for such a long time, but it's gone to the deep end. I'm afraid he's going to have to pit for repairs, and that will promote Saracino and Nichols into the 15th versus 16th
Right, one of
territory.
them into the points, yeah.
Yes.
Look at this. Zabinski just struggling to get out of the way of Tom Parker, and now Jonas Abler, Menno Kont, Justin van der Smissen will surely be upon him, as well as Hoekstra gets very, very close to the back of Micah now. So I wonder if Micah's... Oh, yeah, the car's suffering damage here as we go into the final lap of the race. Mike Quint now fighting side by side with Victor Ivanov. This is for potentially the championship lead, these two.
Ivanov has made too many points up on Quint so far, so even with this superb pass, it's not going to be enough for Quint to regain the territory. He will have lost more points than he's gained if he hangs on to this. So Ivanov will remain on top heading into the third round at Suzuka. And Micah, yeah, just don't crash the car, whatever you do.
A straight line, is it? Have a look when he gets to the
crabbing
here. Although Harry Smith now has dropped to just 9/10 now behind Luca Filan, so he's being dropped there. Yeah, ever so slight angle on the straight there, and this doesn't look very stable into the corner. So Micah in survival mode, but Watson under real pressure from Quint now that Quint has cleared Ivanov with that fantastic move on the final lap.
And I'll say as quick as I can, Muscat has overtaken Nichols, so Saracino's point could be exposed a little bit. He's gained 14 places from his back of the grid start, and that will be an amazing job to get the
very
point.
fresh soft tyres, Muscat, as well.
That's right,
7
yes.
laps on them. But look at this, Harry Smith, one more chance then to try and put one over on Luca Filan, but Filan about to take his first win in FS1 if he can just hold on here. What a fabulous job from the Super Swede.
Here we go, just needs to arch the car around from the angle. Yes, oh, the slide. Smith catches it. So no repeat of what happened to Mike Quint. And Lucas Tylene is a new winner in FS1. KKR have their moment to shine. Amazing driving from the Super Swede. Podium positions locked out by Netrex, but it is second and third alas. Van der Smissen at 12th place. He really wants to make it 11th place against number 14, and unfortunately he'll just miss out. Kozowski in the background will rescue what he can for Hyperion.
Yeah, there we go. So it's a case of what could have been for Hyperion then, as Muscat catches Saracino at the final corner. Here we go. It's going to be side by side then for the final points position, Eoin.
That is incredible. Jason Muscat playing the one-stop strategy to excellent, an excellent example. He gets the final point in this sprint race, and Federico Russo's probably trying a fastest lap just as a final show of determination. Never give up, even if his night has not ended the way he would have liked it to. So Alpha Delta with Micah, he's really put in a splendid effort for the team, but poor Al Russo, it's not been a fabulous time of it for him, but he'll cross the line just in reach of Svillo. Yeah, there's Svillo, not quite able to catch in time, and there we have it. 21 cars are on circuit to finish on the lead lap, but Tylene, he's earned the right to some celebratory donuts. And yes, we have a brand new winner in our long annals of FS1 history. So congratulations to Lucas Tylene, joined with pride with his teammate there, the one and only. Yeah, of course that would be Svillo, wouldn't it? So there we go, they're donutting away. And Netrex, of course, they should be really pleased with Smith and Watson together on the second and third steps of the podium. The engine has been fully burnt up there. So yeah, that will go out with the winner's purse. But Mike Quint, he'll be glad to have at least gotten one back on Ivanov in the battle for 4th and 5th places. Luke Mitchell again, really solid and very composed as well. He did his very best, but 6th place for him again. Wopke Hoekstra 7th place, with Micah, Parker and Abler in the top 10. Menno Kont gets the 11th place at the dash to the line against Justin van der Smissen, so well done to both them drivers. Mateusz Kozowski had to carry Hyperion's hopes after it fell apart for Zabinski, but 13th is adequate. Roszak and Muscat got the points there. Saracino tried his best, having arrived just for race 2, and he missed it by one corner. 16th is his lot, and Jack Nicholls 17th, but he is proving consistent in these sprint races, so his time will certainly not be far away for some points. Zabinski, David De Vries and Christopher Svillo complete the top 20. Federico Russo, the last driver who completed the racing laps, 17 in all. Charlie Jemson was a lap down, but it was retirements as Riboli and Scott had a huge incident in the middle portion of the track, and in Daniel Scott's case, he caught fire. Becky's 25th, Muelling, of course, 26th with the DNF. Isaac Clarke, promising qualifying, has resulted in absolutely nothing for him. He retires in 27th, and then the 100-to-1 drivers barely got any racing laps done whatsoever. They double DNF'd again. There we have it, Ed. Almost time for some interviews, but what did you think of race 2?
Very unexpected winner in the form of Luca Filan. I think Zabinski definitely played his part from reverse group pole on how that thing played out. But take nothing away from Luca Filan in both races today and in Australia. He's been absolutely superb. So definitely of our FS2 graduates, a big standout. But I think also honourable mention to Jonas Abler and Justin van der Spissen getting a Pixelate Esports and VMS Sun at its first points in FS1 in that chaotic race 2. But also great drive from both the Lunark drivers as well. Parker made up a lot of places today. Luke Mitchell holding on to get 2 sick places in a row to kickstart his season is very, very good. But I think it's the likes of Watson, Filan, Quint and Ivanov. I think those 4 are probably going to be the championship contenders going forward the way things are going.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, Frank Hamming will be back, hopefully, with a huge point to prove in
and
Japan.
Saracino too.
Yeah, Saracino, he didn't get a proper attempt either. Yeah, he's certainly strong. So, a lot of drivers have made their cases to be contenders heading into our Far East races in Japan and China in the month of April. So, yeah, absolutely. It was just barnstorming, to be honest. So much happened in both races. And, hard to pick out a proper moment of the whole evening, but certainly the race 1 battle is one I'll remember. That was absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, absolutely. I think certainly race 1, the slightly cleaner battle and of great between Quint, Ivanov, and then that battle for third between Filan, Rozak, Watson, and company. So yeah, and then of course race 2, just absolute carnage with Zabinski creating that big train of cars, and Filan, I didn't find at one point made that amazing double move to get past Rozak and a couple others as well. And then it was a case of while the others lost their heads, Filan just consistently kept his, and his reward is that victory. I'm waffling here, Eoin, because nobody seems to want to talk to us tonight, which is a little bit of a shame. But hopefully, now that I've made the prompt on stream for everyone to hear, someone might want to come in to at least talk to us. Maybe even Justin van der Spissen. He might have something to say after scoring some points. So hopefully he'll be in a better mood.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like I said, well done, Justin.
Yeah, so I suppose, if anyone comes forward in 5 minutes, that should be plenty of notice if that is a possibility. Yeah, if we will give drivers till, I suppose it's still GMT, so we'll give them to 9:50 p.m. GMT to come forward for interview. Otherwise, we'll have to give our final thoughts and sign out for this broadcast. But of course, heading into Easter, we have SL2 and SL1, of course, next Tuesday and Thursday, respectively. So, no shortage of action in GPWC the next 7 days, without a doubt.
Absolutely, and haven't we also got Academy on the Monday as well?
Of course, yes.
But we'll have to see how things pan out. But yeah, I think this FS1 championship, especially if the likes of Luca Filan can work their way in, then potentially Mike Quint and Victor Ivanov may not have the first 2 spots all to themselves. So I think plenty to go. But I think in the teams championship, Netrex, having worked so well together in both races, let's be honest, you've got to praise that teamwork. A bit unlucky for Omari Watson there, because I think if there'd been a cleaner pass on Zabinski, he would have fancied his chances of winning today. But still, I think good points for the team, and Omari Watson knows that his luck will turn around sooner or later. He just has to keep at it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's no time to think about throwing in the towel. Um, yeah, still a long, long way to go. Plenty of tracks that I'm sure will suit drivers. And yes, I think Justin van der Smissen has accepted your appeal, Ed. So
Yeah,
first come, first
he's
serve.
agreed to our demands. So let's hear what he has to say.
Welcome in, Justin.
Hey guys.
Thanks for taking the time to interview. Congratulations on some points there. Do you mind talking to us about your day as a whole?
Yeah, I mean the first race was a bit shit to be honest, but I mean I got damage from something which happened in the first lap. It didn't give anything on my MFD because and I wasn't involved in anything or something, but during my pit stop I just took the damage. Yeah, and pretty much had to drive from the back of the grid always. I could have started P19, but I had a lag in the formation lap, lagged me back into Tom Parker. So I had to start from pit lane from that race anyway. But yeah, race 2 overall was a lot better. Starting P25, finishing P12. Yeah, early stage of the race, like the first 8 or 9 laps, I was managing the tires a lot. Keeping track with the dirty air, braking early, turning in a bit earlier, going a bit slower, so I can focus on my exits, focus on the tires, the life, which I could use in the end to remain P12.
Yeah, indeed. So I suppose yeah, it looked like a lot of, in fairness, a lot of carnage. I suppose in both races there were plenty of incidents, but did you see anything else apart from obviously having to start from pit lane and working your way through in race 1? Was there anything that you saw?
No, not really in race 1. At the start from the second race, I saw my teammate having a car behind him and then going on the inside, which it was a stupid move, because you have nowhere to go in that corner if you are on the all way to the inside towards the barrier there. I mean, I've seen it coming. I've seen a lot of people crash in turn 22, I think it is. So I had
Oh,
to
it
cut.
wasn't Isaac Clarke who did that, was it? Attacking
Yeah,
David
one was
Williamson.
going over the top, did a barrel roll. I saw one of the HGPs, I think, as well, on the left hand side of the track. So I had to like cut the corner a little bit, and then lifting off the throttle a bit to reduce the penalty you get from it. But I did it to just avoid getting hit by one of those cars or hitting them out of the race. That would have been a big disappointment. So yeah.
That battle just outside the top 10 was relatively clean, though, wasn't it? Was it you, Gazowski, Tom Parker, and I think a couple of others? Was it? And Menno, I think, was in that at one point
Yeah,
as
there were
well.
a lot of cars involved in it. Mano was one of them. Jonas Abler, if I speak it
Yeah,
correctly.
Abler, yeah.
Um, yeah, Grzowski. Yeah, there were a lot of guys involved in the battle. I think 6 or 7 cars, but it was really clean. It was really awesome. I enjoyed driving today. It's been quite quite the opposite sometimes in GPV, but today was really fair and really clean. So I'm quite happy that how the race went.
Oh, that's good to hear, Justin. So, of course, Australia was a really, really brutal event, and you told us afterwards how it was clear from your voice how much it sort of taken out of you. But to finally get a couple of points, that really gives you and VMS candidates. And David De Vries had a really good race 1 as well, just outside the points in 16th. So, truly for the team, this means Suzuka onwards. It's really you guys are going to be competing for more points, surely, and that's got to be good for your confidence going forward.
Yeah, it gives a lot of confidence. I think David has gotten a lot of confidence out of himself today, especially finishing 16th in race 1. But yeah, as I said, it's a shame about turn 1 in the second race, because he could have been well inside of the points way ahead of me, maybe top 10, if everything went according to plan. But yeah, it's a shame it happened. But yeah, you need to learn from those things and move on to next round. So I think me and David can score a lot more points from next round onwards.
I'm delighted to hear that, Justin. Thanks so much for coming forward, and we'll hope to see you again in 2 weeks.
Yep, I'll see you guys.
Congrats, Justin. All right.
And we
Shall we
have
talk to
Amari.
Amari Watson?
Yes, please. Welcome on in, Amari. Congratulations on your podium. How do you feel about that?
Hello guys. First of
Hello.
all, how do I feel? It's a mixed bags. If I'm honest with you, I felt I should have won race 2. Given the pace we had and given the incident we had with Zabinski. But in all fairness, first podium of the season, I can't complain. We move on to the next race, and yeah, it's a mixed. I'm happy for the team. 2 and 3. Congratulations to Harry. Also, congratulations to Victor on race 1. Congratulations to Thailand on race 2. So good job for the team. Good points for the team. But yeah, on a personal one, I'm a little bit gutted because I felt I had an opportunity to win that, and an opportunity gone. But we go for the next one.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, teamwork was definitely key for yourselves at NetRex. But yeah, do you mind telling us exactly what happened in race 2? I think it was the side by side, and just you lost a bit of traction under braking into turns 1 and 2. Was it? Something like that.
The first overtake, yeah, I ran too deep, and when you cut the corner, you got to give the place back. The second, I felt that Zabinski moved a little in the braking zone, but that's just how I feel from inside the car. I haven't seen the incident back, so I felt he moved inside the braking zone, and we had a little contact, which allowed Thailand and Harry to gain position on us. And from there, it was just a case of supporting Harry and protecting the 2 and 3, and hopefully, if Harry had an opportunity to win, that's what it was about from there.
Were you damaged after the contact, Amari? Is that why you didn't challenge Harry?
No. Listen, we're team first orientated. We're a team first orientated team. So we think the team first. If you saw in the first stint or the first half of the race, Harry let me through to give me an opportunity to win the race. I tried. The opportunity went by, so Harry got back through, and then it was a case of protecting what we have as a team, and hopefully, I was hoping Harry could go on to win the race. So, did I have damage? No, I didn't have damage from that contact, but I did have damage from clipping the wall a few times.
Oh, we did see you clipping the wall. Sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't race ending. It was fine. The car was fine. Little bit of issues in the corner, but it was fine. Nothing major.
Oh, this circuit's mainly straights anyway, so even. But did we talk about race 1? Because I'm almost forgotten what happened in that, Eoin, at this point. But I'm pretty sure. I think Omari, you started like 6th or 7th on the grid. I think.
I think it was P5. I started P5 and I finished.
It was P5, yeah, because the qualifying didn't quite go. You had a few purple sectors, but you couldn't quite sew everything together. I thought it was very, very close between the top 5, wasn't it? And then.
Sorry, quali's always close. Yeah, sorry. Let me explain race 1. Quali's always close. Felt there was another couple attempts in it, but every driver would say that. So it is what it is. I qualified P5, and for some reason, I just didn't have the pace that I did in practice in race 1. I don't know what it was. The tires were fine, but I just never had the pace. Could have been P4, but in the end, Patrick Rojak got me in the end, and I witnessed a fantastic battle between Patrick and Luca. Credit to both of them for keeping the car on the track. So yeah, race 1 was. I just didn't have the pace, and I couldn't overtake. We didn't have the straight line speed to overtake, or I couldn't get close in the right areas to overtake. And Luca's car was a bullet in a straight line. Just no one was overtaking him today.
Yeah, last, but I suppose Suzuka moved further forward in the calendar, so that'll be next on the agenda. I suppose, would you be optimistic heading into that round?
If anyone knows me, I'm never optimistic. I always err on the side of caution. Very humble in that respect. So we'll see what Suzuka brings. It's not a track I'd say I enjoy, but it's not a track I say I dislike. So we get back to work next week. And see what we can do. Just before I go, just want to thank the team again for everything this week. Congratulations to Harry. Congratulations to the winners. Thank you, Ed, Eoin, or
Owen.
bloody
Yes.
hell. Sorry, Michael.
You're all right.
And
you're all
Remco.
It's been a long race, Amari.
right.
Thank you for the broadcast. Thank you, everybody, and good racing, everyone. Good racing.
Yeah, superb way to conclude the interview, Amari. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Here's Amari.
And no one else has come forward. I suppose we'll give him another minute. Have a final think about it. But yeah, we are hitting the nearly 2.5 hour mark.
It was a bit touch and go whether we're going to get anyone at all there. I think I sort of shamed Justin Van der Smissen by calling him out because I know he's the most talkative. And Omari, luckily, decided to come in and give us his thoughts as well. But it's a shame we didn't get to hear from Luca Filan and Matthew McKinnon at KKR because that was a big, big moment for them in their FS1 career because surely Luca Filan is just only going from strength to strength at the moment. It seems unlikely that that's going to be the last time we see Luca Filan on the top step of the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. I see. Okay.
So Isaac Clarke clearly still reeling from what happened at the beginning of race 1 there, and race 2 didn't go too much better either, did it, Eoin? So that's a shame because Isaac Clarke, we know, such a quick driver, has so much talent, but the results just haven't quite come together for him. So at least Jonas Abler getting some points in race 2 with 10th position, but Pixelate, no, I think there's more to come as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still very early days. It is the 16-round championship. So, yeah, if it's a slow start, there's more than enough time to make it up. It seems we're out of time. We're very lucky to have Justin and Amari come forward for interviews, but it was a tough night for a lot of drivers. But there we go, absolutely excellent racing, and it did bring the very best out of our FS1 grid. So yeah, we have our winners, and we'll head with great confidence, I will say, into round 3 at Suzuka. But for myself, Eoin, Harmon, Ed Hunter beside me, Remco Zeeuw running the broadcast, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. So long, take care.